Almost 2 months ago, I took on a challenge that Chrism had accidentally created in one of his live streams. It was on Farm in Black Ops 2, where you were restricted in almost every way besides being able to buy Quick Revive and the MP5. You guys really seemed to like that video, and while screwing around today, I accidentally stumbled upon a new challenge that's just as hard, but in my opinion, a lot more fun. The idea is that you start up a game of Nuketown Zombies, and you can either start on round 1 or 10, depending on how quickly you're looking to get into the action. Either way, the outcome is the same for you. You're only allowed to use the 5 items that are available inside of the red truck in the spawn room. You also cannot leave the spawn room through this entire challenge, making it a hard but fair one. I spent a good amount of hours trying to do this for myself, trying to get the highest round that I possibly could, with a lot of mixed results, and if anyone else wants to try and beat me, then they can and they'll win a prize. Not a cash prize, of course, I'm poor, but I'll give you a big sloppy kiss. Also, a like and a comment is appreciated to feed the algorithm. It's really appreciated, and thanks for all the love lately. I'll have the comment suggestion video out soon. It just took a little longer than I thought it would. But back to the challenge, what actually is inside of this red truck that I speak of? Well, it's got the AK-74U, which is a fairly weak SMG. It's got the Semtex grenades, claymores, bowie knife, and hidden away is a set of galvanuckles. These are all we can use for the entire game, plus you can use Quick Revive, which is the only perk that spawns in the spawn room on solo matches. I do believe double tap can drop in on co-op matches though, so that could possibly be an advantage for you if you want to try out the challenge. Not for me though, I don't have any friends, but my first attempt at this started off fine actually, with me opening up the red truck by round 4, since the barrier to open it costs a fat stack of 3,000 points, and the AK inside of it is 1,200 points, and since there isn't really much else to purchase, I was able to scoop up the claymores, bowie knife, and Semtex grenades in only a couple of minutes after that. It seems kind of dumb to buy the bowie knife that only kills until round 10 when you could soon enough buy the galvanuckles that'll kill until round 13, and to that I say it's only a little bit dumb actually. This Nuketown first room is tight, and I mean tight like tighter than your stepdad's ass, and that means zombies will be in your face a lot of the time. Having a strong melee while warming up to the challenge is never a bad idea. Plus by round 10 you'll usually have had the points to purchase both of them anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Speaking of round 10 though, I had an insta-kill and almost took it down because I whiffed an entire magazine into a bunch of zombies who only didn't kill me because of sheer dumb luck. That didn't even help me though when on 13 I took my second down and I decided to restart for a better game. This one got past 13 and things were actually going quite well for me. I was finally beginning to get a grip on the spawns and where I needed to begin rounds for the best chance of surviving. One thing I learned very quickly is that drops are a great friend to you, but they can also really mess you up. With something like an insta-kill, usually you'll have them for the opening of a new round and it'll help to kill the first 15 to 20 zombies. Once it runs out though, the spawns are all messed up and shit like what you've just seen can happen very quickly in quite a small area like this. That's why from here on out, I was strictly starting my games on round 10 because it just saves an extra 15 minutes or so for an attempt. And for a challenge that's just meant to be fun, it really should be like that. You shouldn't just have to grind away attempts over and over again to get to the good stuff. And when you do spawn in on round 10, you'll begin with 5,000 points, and that's only just enough to buy the red truck's door, an AK, and Quick Revive if it's in an easy location for you to grab. Pretty much every single attempt, my strategy would be to get through the first round, buy everything that I possibly can from the truck, and then lastly get Quick Revive once I have a few seconds between any of the first couple of rounds. Sometimes, admittedly, I just forgot that it existed, like here where I just didn't get it until the start of round 14, which is just stupid, but what do you expect? Something else the keen-eyed of you might have noticed though is that I'm not yet using the optimal strategy for this challenge yet because I'm almost entirely failing to use my claymores. They are far and away the most powerful thing that I can use, and I was actually neglecting them like you're neglecting that project that's due in a couple of days by watching this video. Believe me, I know what you're doing, you're not slick. But yeah, why am I not using them? It's because partially I forgot how good they were for quite a while, and I didn't want an entire new horde of zombies spawning in when I use them. That's some flawed logic on my part though, because a full horde spawning in is much safer than 5 to 6 constantly spawning zombies while training around and using the AK as I was. So on round 19, I began using my claymores and using the small gap in time for the new new horde to appear as an opportunity to kill slow walking zombies that may screw me over later on. This right away paid dividends and it was so much more effective, and hey, here we are on round 20, woo, that feels good to get it right out of the way within the first couple of tries, because a challenge like this could go horribly wrong if you're not having a good day playing zombies. There's definitely a world where I would have never gotten past like round 13 or 14 and would have just had to come back to this the next day, especially since there's no Juggernog. I also had this weird glitch where a Claymore and a Semtex went off at the same time, and for some reason only the Semtex damage was counted. Imagine how funny that would be if it was like a frame perfect issue that almost never happens, but there's probably an easier explanation. Regardless though, we got through 20 and immediately took an unfortunate down on 21 while trying to get greedy with a few kills early in the round. Following that, I GG'd by getting pinned up near the M14 wall by, but I'm not done yet though, and I knew that I could do better than that, so let's get right back to work. I kept getting matches after this that I would either down right away or ones that just looked really promising but would take it down a little bit too early for me to feel like they were worth playing out. You've only got 3 quick revives, so using one of them up before round 16 or 17 just felt a little bit pointless to me. Maybe a dozen games in the span of a couple of hours ended like this, but eventually I got a game that I felt my boner was good enough to do it. Once again, I forgot to buy a quick revive until round 14, but I knew what I was doing and had largely stopped using the AK at this point in favor of those Claymores even this early on when the AK still had some use to it. My training strategy was also so much more efficient, with me starting rounds near the greenhouse and running a circle near there before cutting back over to the yellow house side where I should ideally have all the sprinting zombies together and use a Claymore on them. And because of all this, I didn't even take my first down until round 20, which is so much better than the first handful of attempts that I did this challenge. With a bit of luck, I skated through the whole round, and on 21, I got even more lucky. A super early nuke spawned in, taking out my horde and saving both of my Claymores for the next hordes to come. But in typical Luke fashion, I took it down to a few zombies needlessly, and it's a bit heartbreaking because it was my last quick revive, but I pressed on nonetheless. Within a few more minutes of being very careful and struggling, we finished out the round and are setting a new personal best. A very clutch nuke followed by an also clutch insta-kill, helping us to power through 22 almost as easily as a round can get. Around this time, I started out a new idea of trying to farm drops a little bit with the AK because they tended to drop early on in the round. The idea was that if I can get a really early insta-kill or a nuke, then that's almost a third of the zombies in the round wiped out instantly. It would also save Claymores for later on when I wasn't really too sure of how spawns are going to go, but it didn't really work out for me here in this round. Overall though, I got kind of mixed results, and I think it's probably a strategy that you might want to go with. Another nuke took over the round and 23 is finished. Now we start 24, and with 25 looming, can we make it to the blue-eyed zombies? Well, it looks like that's a no, because the spawns simply just weren't on my side. Now go watch this video of me trying to suffer and reach around 50 with just the SMR.